Hi, everyone. So happy to have you here for our deep dive this month. My name is Jen Miller. This is Brittany. We are both business success coaches with Practice Better, and we are excited to walk you through your deep dive today. So your deep dive is going to be all about onboarding strategies to help create an amazing experience for both you and your clients. So just a couple housekeeping items before we actually start. So we are recording this deep dive. If you do have to jump off early, the replay will be shared with you afterwards, or maybe you just want to refer back to it. It will be available to you afterwards, so not to worry. If you do have questions come up throughout our time together today that are pertinent to our topic on onboarding, please feel free to put those into the chat. So we're going to use the chat for any questions. We will try to answer as many as we can. However, we have lots of you joining us today, which is amazing. So we won't be able to, for sure, get to every single question. We want to make sure we can cover all the content that we have planned for you. And if you do have other questions that don't get covered today, we are always available to support you with our customer success team. One other thing to mention before we dive in that we are excited about is today we actually have a bonus for you all. So this is going to be a form access code that we're going to provide to anyone who completes our deep dive feedback survey. So this is actually an onboarding check-in form that we've created, and we want to share that with you. So for anyone who actually completes our feedback survey, you'll get sent that access code to be able to use that in your own Practice Better account. So I'm going to actually put the link to the survey into the chat right now, just in case there is anyone that can't stay the whole time. So you can copy that over. And we'll also be sharing it at the end as well. It'll be sort of a pop-up that you'll see as soon as the webinar ends. Okay, so you can either click that link or you can just wait till the end. Okay. Awesome. So throughout our time together today, we will be reviewing all things onboarding. So we're going to go through how to elevate your client's booking process, as the onboarding experience really begins before you start working together, right? We're going to talk all about saving time in the onboarding process by using automations. So things like confirming new bookings, automatically sharing forms and tasks with new clients, organizing new clients with tag automations, those kind of things. We're going to also touch on the client portal welcome video, because this is a great way to make a great first impression with your client in that onboarding process. And then lastly, how to really set up your clients for success with an onboarding program. So that's something that you can use to share resources and information about what your client can expect. Okay, so we're excited to dive in, and we want to put a question out to all of you joining us live. So who already has maybe a standard onboarding process or program for your clients, and maybe who is on the other side of things, maybe more looking to like elevate and improve in this area. So just let us know in the chat where you sit on that front. So I see a couple that already have that in place. Some looking to improve, excited to learn more.
Yeah, lots of people looking to improve it. Some people have a process, it looks like, but hoping to learn a few things today, which is exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think, no matter where you sit on that spectrum, if you have one or not, or maybe you have a partial onboarding program, hopefully everything we're going to cover today will be really valuable for you and meet you where you're at. Okay. So what we want to sort of share about first, before we actually share our screen and demo the platform as we move through all of this, is just to talk a little bit about what onboarding really is and why it's important. So some of the benefits, right? Because, obviously that impacts our motivation to want to create this type of process. Why is this beneficial? So onboarding is really everything that needs to happen before you actually start working with your client for the most part. So maybe that's before, say, the first initial consultation. So the onboarding process really starts from the first interaction with you as the practitioner once they've agreed to become a client. So, they're moving from prospect to client. So that sort of stage is really key in creating that amazing experience for them. Can consist of things like maybe, setting expectations with the client, timelines, requirements, welcoming them in, that kind of thing. And there's many benefits to having, a streamlined onboarding process or program in place for both you and the client, right? So for the client side of things, I mean, it really sets them up for success, not only with their experience, but also their outcomes too, right? Because their experience and outcomes, of course, are linked together. So when you have, clear expectations and boundaries with your client, they're really clear on what those are. That really, really helps. So again, maybe things like what to expect when working with you, like logistics, timelines, what is required of them in terms of their time and engagement with your programs. What you as the practitioner will be providing to them and any boundaries you have with your time. So they're really clear on that. And yeah, all of this, I think, just really allows them to feel comfortable and relaxed, knowing what to expect. So they can plan, how much time or energy they need to invest in working together. And that just creates a much better and elevated experience for them. And then on the practitioner side, right, there's tons of benefits to having this process in place too. Not only will your client be happy and hopefully experience better outcomes, but it's going to save you a lot of time and energy, because as we'll show today, you can actually automate a lot of the onboarding process. It's going to mitigate back and forth with your client asking multiple questions. As we know, that can definitely be a bit of a burden when you're first getting started and having to repeat yourself over and over with all your clients. It can mitigate that, mitigate any maybe misunderstandings or misaligned expectations. And even, mitigate your boundaries being crossed in terms of your time and what you're willing to provide to them and that kind of thing. So yeah, so I think we can all agree, you guys can let us know in the chat that having an amazing onboarding process or program in place will really benefit both you and the client. So I see a few agreed. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, where we really want to start today is looking at the onboarding process beginning even before you start working together. So that's right from the time that your client goes in to book with you, right? So we're going to start with that sort of booking process. So yeah, if you think about the booking process, like this is a great opportunity to actually set the stage for a positive onboarding experience for both you and your client. And that can mean, ensuring the booking itself runs smoothly. There's no back and forth or confusion with the booking. It could also mean creating, a really congruent experience with your brand and your personality, making them feel really welcome and having that, personal touch. So Britt's going to share her screen and we're going to walk you through how you can really create that amazing booking experience for your clients in Practice Better, which is really sort of the first step in our onboarding process.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just going to get set up here by sharing my screen.
Awesome.
And you know what, I'm going to turn my camera off so that we can focus on the demonstration here. So I'm going to turn that guy off. All right, Jen, can you see my screen there?
I can. It looks great.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, as Jen mentioned, the booking process is really kind of that first step as a client starting their onboarding process. So to get started, we wanted to highlight and show you guys what a custom booking page looks like as a way of getting bookings in a really streamlined and organized way for your clients. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to start from my kind of homepage here, going down to share my link from the gear icon. Okay, so the public booking pages allow for new and existing clients to request sessions, and you can create custom booking pages. So for those of you who are not familiar with what that is, it essentially allows you to customize which products, services, packages, programs, so you can kind of lump them all together, are displayed and in what order. So it immediately sets the tone for your experience working together. We know that, as kind of Jen mentioned, that providing a simple booking process that is organized and streamlined for your clients is really going to kind of set the tone. And it's also a nice way of maintaining that brand image and messaging. So let's use the health transformation package as the example today. And I'm actually going to take us into what that looks like to build it out. All right, so right at the very top here, you do have the option of selecting a header image if you'd like. We have a few different stock options that you can choose from, or you can upload your own or completely omit that there. The label here that you see, so this is an internal reference. So this is something that as a practitioner, you'll use to kind of keep your different booking pages organized and know what's what. And then you'll actually have the page title. So this is what you're going to kind of label the page as. So if you have multiple custom booking pages, this will allow for the client to kind of know what's going to be on this page and what they're looking to book in with. Further down, we have a text block here where we can put in a welcome message. So this is a really nice opportunity to say hello and then maybe add a brief description of what they're going to find on this particular booking page. And you can format your text, you can organize it to make it really appealing. You can even add links or videos, tables into this section, just depending on what type of information you actually want to convey to your client that's on the page. A little bit further below here, we have the option of product descriptions. So you have 3 options. So the first would be to display full product descriptions. So the product descriptions are what you're inputting when you're first creating that service, program, package, whatever it may be that you're including on this page to explain to your clients what they're actually getting when they're booking that particular offering. So you have the option of showing that full description or an excerpt. So an excerpt might be a nice option if you have gotten very descriptive with the description. So it's maybe longer and really detailed. Maybe you don't want it to make your booking page super long where there's a lot of scrolling involved. So you can choose to display the excerpt, or you can simply choose to hide it altogether. For my particular example, I'm going to go with the full description here. And then you also have a redirect URL. So how this is going to work is after the client has booked or requested the session with you and they're done taking those steps, it will redirect them to whatever website you'd like them to go to. So whether that's your personal website, your Instagram, maybe you have a Facebook group. I put in our Facebook page here just as the sake of example, but you can input any URL that you'd like them to be redirected to after. All right, a little bit further down here. So you have a few more options. So you can set a custom booking page to be your default booking page. So that's something that you can check if that is how you want to display your services. You can also choose to create booking pages based on specific locations. So if you're a practitioner who's maybe working from home part-time and maybe a few days a week, you're in a clinic setting or you're in a co-working space, and you have certain days where you're offering certain offerings, then you can check that box and maybe make it specific to the location. And then you can also further refine it by allowing only certain clients with specific tags to view that page through the client portal. Further down here, this is where you can really start to organize and create a really kind of streamlined experience, make it very user-friendly and readable for your clients on the page. So you have the ability to add in a category. So if you're adding in different types of services and offerings on this booking page, then you can kind of label them so that the client knows exactly what it is. So I've created the category here using the red fast action button. So I've added the category and I've labeled it as health transformation package. And then I've added in my products. So all you have to do is just click on here and then select from your different services and offerings based on what you want to include on your custom booking page. So for this particular one, I have my 2 health transformation packages, my 6-month and my 12-month, and that is it. So once I have all that information input, I can save changes. And let's take a look at what that looks like now. So this is the page as it comes together. So you can see that image that I selected, the title that I've included for this page here, my welcome message and description. One thing that I also want to point out is that you'll see that I have my logo on here and my brand colors. So again, we're all about elevating that experience that your client is having right from the get-go. So as they're being introduced into your package, they're having that brand familiarity and you're able to maintain that consistent image with your practice. So you can see again that I have that logo and my colors, and then everything that I wanted to display is there. So from here, the client can, once I've shared the link with them to this particular page, and you can share the link on social media and your email newsletter, you can share it one-on-one with the client, however you'd like to share that URL to this particular booking page. They'll just have to go through the motions of selecting the package. It will give them a run through of what they're looking to request or book, and then they'll follow the steps to actually book or request the session in. So super streamlined for the client, nice and readable. It's very clear kind of what action steps they need to take to book in with me. So it's going to really set the tone and make it very kind of user-friendly right from the very beginning. All right, do we have any questions about what we're seeing on the booking page yet, Jen?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So one is just regarding the booking page URL and how to share that. So maybe we can just go back, Britt, and just show where you can actually pull that URL for the booking page.
Definitely. So once we have the booking page created, you'll see here that we have the Get Link button. So once we click that, we'll have the ability to copy and paste this link here. So that will bring us to that specific page that we've just created, or we can optionally create a short link. So this is nice if you ever have, a YouTube or a Instagram bio where you have limited characters, or even on Twitter, depending on what platform you're using and you have a limited character count, you can use these shorter, tidier links. Or if you're embedding it somewhere, it can be really helpful. But you have the two different options of how you want to copy that link. And then really, again, it's a matter of wherever you can share a URL, you can paste that anywhere for your clients to have access to that particular page.
Yeah, perfect. And then there's been a few questions about the logo and colors. So I put it into the chat, but the ability to add a custom logo and custom branding colors, as well as the personalized URL, that's available on the Plus plan and up. So if anyone's curious about that. And someone had also asked if the logo and colors can be seen on the app as well. And no, so the app, you don't have your branding colors and such on the app. So that will just be the Practice Better colors, but it will show up, when your client is viewing that on a computer or tablet or just through a browser. So those are some good questions there. Let me just take a peek here and see what else I can find. There's tons of questions coming through. So again, just a reminder, if we aren't able to get through your questions today, then please, we have our customer success team that is always available to support you. I'll just put the email actually into the chat right now, and we'll do that a few times throughout our time together today. All right, so someone had asked, is the booking page for scheduling appointments? This seems to be more like a client signing up for a package. Yeah, so you can put onto your booking page whichever services, packages, or programs you'd like. So Britt, yeah, let's just go back here. So Britt has added a few packages, you're right, but you can also go in here and add any individual sessions as well. So that's totally up to you what you want to add to your custom booking page. And again, you can add any services, packages, or programs to that page.
Yeah, and it will become clear as we continue through today's webinar and our demonstration here that the reason why I have included packages for the sake of today's example is because we have created an onboarding program to share with you guys. So essentially the package, you could do a one-off service, but by including it as a package, I've been able to attach a program to it. So we'll get to that in a little bit to kind of showcase a little bit further what I mean there. But you have, like Jen said, the full range of different products and offerings can be included on a custom booking page.
Yeah, awesome. And I just see another couple questions about whether this is recording. Yes, it is. You will get a replay afterwards. So not to worry if you have to run. All right, awesome. So yeah, I think, as Britt shared, really, to summarize, creating that custom booking page contributes to a positive onboarding experience for your clients for sure, because it sets the stage for what it will really feel like to work with you. And we also wanted to really share how you can set yourself up for success in this phase sort of before you start working with your client by saving time and actually automating parts of the onboarding process. And we can do that with the various automations that we have in Practice Better. So automations really allow you to automate some of your tasks, creating a streamlined workflow and saving you, a lot of time. So Britt's going to go in and share, a few of the key automations that we really want to highlight that will help elevate your onboarding process.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. So I've gone from my practice down to automations. And I want to kind of quickly show you before we jump into today's examples that the red fast action button here, if you're not familiar with this always has kind of the main functions or features of any kind of page that you're in. So this is where you'd go to kind of first create your automations. And we have a full list of different ones that you can introduce into your practice in all different ways. So it's not limited to kind of the examples that I'll be showing you today. But what I have built out for you are 6 different automations specifically geared towards that onboarding process and making it as streamlined as possible for you as the practitioner. So I'm going to kind of walk us through what I've set up here, and then we'll actually kind of build out a couple of these ones at the bottom here. So right up at the top here, adding new clients automatically. So what this will allow me to automate here is when your client purchases a service or package, they will automatically be given access to their client portal and corresponding journals if you wish for them to have access to those. So by default, you would manually have to kind of put in your clients to have their client portal. This takes care of that. So there's no more of that kind of day-to-day administrative task of adding people and giving them access to their client portal and journals. So I have that set up for the onboarding package there. The next 2 that I have set up are very similar. So again, by default, when someone is requesting a new booking with you, whether it's a package, a program, a one-on-one service, by default, it comes through as a request. So by introducing these 2 automations into my practice, now when I get those package requests or one-on-one booking requests, they're automatically confirmed. So no kind of manually having to accept those. And we're just trying to mitigate the risk of somebody requesting and the practitioner missing it. That would be a really unfortunate situation. So again, by introducing these automations, I no longer have to worry about keeping an eye on requests that come through. I'll just see them as bookings on my calendar now. All right, so further down here, so sending intake form after the initial consultation is booked. So this is one that I really love because it allows you to have the intake form already automatically sent out to the client without you having to manually remember to do so. And this is so nice to mitigate, again, that busy work, that day-to-day busy work. And it also helps ensure that things go out in a timely manner. So there's no more worry that you're going to have to send things and maybe forgetting, and then the client doesn't have maybe the time that you would typically give somebody in an ideal situation. And then the last 2 that I want to kind of highlight here are tag automations. So let's actually go into the edit mode so you can see what it looks like to build this out. So this particular automation here is going to be adding a tag to a client. So I've named this. You get to name all your automations so that as a practitioner, very detailed what's what, because in time, likely you'll have very many in your practice. So I've named this the onboarding client tag. I've set this to be triggered when a client registers for a program. So I touched on this very briefly, but the packages that I'm using as my example today, I have created an onboarding program to share with you guys to those packages. So my clients will be automatically enrolled in that program when they purchase the package. And when they do so, they will be organized and labeled as an onboarding client. So you will need to go and create this tag when you're first getting this set up. So you'll do so from your client page. So I have this tag that will be added to everybody that's being added to my onboarding program. So at a quick glance, when I go and look at my list of clients, I can very easily see who's in that stage of being onboarded versus maybe someone who's an active client. So that's going to be really nice as a practitioner, just to keep things organized and always kind of keep my finger on the pulse of knowing who's who in my practice. All right, let's take a look at the second one here. So again, you'll see that based on these icons, these are the same automation that I'm using, but just in a very different way. So again, you can get really kind of detailed with each automation and how you're using them. But let's take a look at this one as well. So this one is a little bit different in that rather than adding a tag, I'm updating it. So I've named this one the active client tag update. And this one is going to be triggered by the initial consultation being booked. So I've marked off that particular service from my list. So this is kind of based on this idea that of a workflow of a client buying a package. With that package, they're going to be given immediate access to the onboard program that we'll be sharing with you shortly. And then I'm going to, as the practitioner, give them about 3 days to review the content and take those first few action steps, which at that time they'll be booked in for their initial consultation or their first appointment. So what this tag is doing now is removing the onboarding client tag and replacing it with the active client tag. So now when their initial consultation is booked in, I know that they're out of that kind of initial onboarding stage program, and they're now considered an active client. So again, these are tags that I've created in my own practice. There's something that you would need to go and add to yours if you want to replicate this strategy. But this is, again, going to allow me to really understand who's who in my practice by just taking a quick glance at my client list and viewing those tags. All right, so that's kind of a look at the different automations that I've set to really streamline and organize my practice. And again, I want to emphasize that we have so many that you can introduce to really help streamline things and automate them in your business in all different ways based on your own personal workflow.
Thanks, Britt. Yeah, that's awesome. So there was a couple questions on how to actually set these automations up. Do you mind just showing the red fast action and how they can actually begin to set those up again?
For sure. So from the red fast action button, you'll be given this list. And from here, it's a matter of selecting the task. Or the automation. So let's go into create a task. So we can name this here. So maybe we want to, like it said, review the intake questionnaire. And so once a client completes that automated form that's been sent out to them, so I can select the particular form. All right, so my intake questionnaire. So now this is going to be created for me as a practitioner. So intake questionnaire. All right. So now when a client has filled out that form that I've automatically had sent out to them, a new task will be generated for me as a practitioner where I need to now review that form. So it's as simple as just kind of walking through the steps there based on whatever automation that you'll be setting up from the initial list here. And one thing that I would recommend when you're looking at these different automations and trying to decide what best suits your practice and your workflow is maybe take a second to map out what your workflow looks like, and that will help you decide. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, there was just one question around how you set up tags. And so we don't need to necessarily go into that today, but if you just go to my clients view all, then this is where you'll be able to set those tags up. So these are all ones that Britt has set up here. So you may not see any there, but you would just go create new tag, and that would allow you to create those new tags there and associate them with unique colors. So you can set them apart, and it just really helps make it nice and organized for you as well.
Yeah, super straightforward and easy to get those into your practice.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, great. So yeah, as Britt shared, setting up automations is really another great way to elevate your onboarding process for both you and your clients before you start working together. So next, I wanted to highlight strategies to create an amazing onboarding experience once you actually do start working with your client, right? So once, you're actually beginning to work together. So once your client has booked with you and has access to the client portal, the next phase of the onboarding really begins. So one feature that we really love to make use of for this stage of onboarding is the client portal welcome video. So this is a video that's seen by your client the first time they log into the portal. So Britt's going to show us how we can, go and change this if we'd like. You do have the opportunity to include your own welcome video. So maybe that you want to add a bit more of a personal touch and share any important information, maybe about how to use the portal or how you'll be working together. Yeah, so let's dive into that, Britt.
For sure. So to get to where you need to go, you're going to use the gear icon, so the all settings and preferences option, and go down to portal preferences. And then once you're on this page, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the section here for the client portal welcome video. So kind of as Jen mentioned, once your client has booked in with you and they're logging into their client portal for the very first time, there is a default video that will pop up that Practice Better has created that gives them a tour of the client profile, or portal rather. So if you would like to continue using that default one, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to elevate that experience and put in that personalized touch, you do have the option of customizing it. So all that you'll need to do that is record your own video, and you'll want to host that video through YouTube or Vimeo. We recommend making it unlisted, as this will allow you to host the video, but you don't have to worry about, the general public searching something and your video coming up in the search engine on YouTube or Vimeo. So by having it unlisted, you can only view it if you have that specific link that's generated when you upload it. So once you have that uploaded, you'll be given an URL. So whether it's through YouTube or Vimeo, and you're going to identify the video ID. So this is actually pulled from the video URL. We do have a tutorial on how to identify that. It's actually very straightforward. And you'll input that in the text field here, and then that's complete. So really easy way to personalize and elevate that experience for the client. So when they log in the first time, maybe they're seeing a familiar face, they're getting to know you a little bit more. And as a practitioner, you have a little bit more control about what your client has seen the first time. So if you want them to navigate through the portal in a very specific way, or highlight certain features that you'll be using, where they can find their resources, how you want them to communicate with you, there's lots of different ideas of what you could record for your own custom client portal welcome video. And it's really easy to just upload it to YouTube or Vimeo, identify that video ID, paste that into here, and then all you'll need to do is just click Save Changes at the top there, and you've got your own personalized touch when your clients log in for the very first time. All right, any questions on that?
Yeah, so I just actually shared in the chat a link to the default client portal welcome video. So it's also housed on our YouTube channel. So I just put the link in the chat there. So if anyone is curious to actually view that default welcome video, then you can do that there. And you could also, if you wanted to include that link elsewhere as a resource for your clients, you have that link there. So just wanted to mention that. Let me take a peek here and see if we've got any other questions. All right, yeah, lots we're asking for that link. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think that covers that piece. And yeah, like Britt was saying, I think, the client portal welcome video really gives you this opportunity to share important information with your client the first time they log into the portal, right? So the first time they log in, they're going to see that pop up with that welcome video, but you may have more information you want to share, and maybe you want your client to be able to, easily refer back to your resources you're wanting to share anytime. And so that's actually where our next strategy comes in. So we want to walk you through how to actually use programs in Practice Better as a client onboarding program or sort of welcome guide. So this is really great because it allows you to share all of your onboarding information, maybe resources and tasks with your client in a really organized and streamlined way. So Britt's going to show us how we can not only build our onboarding resources, such as maybe videos or documents, into a program, but how you can use the task and form automations available to you in programs to really elevate that experience further. And we'll also share too how bundling your onboarding program with other offerings in a package can really save you time and make for a great client experience as well.
Yeah, great. So let's actually dive into that example program that I've created for you guys today to show you an onboarding strategy. So I'm just going up to my practice and down to my programs here, and we're going to go into my client onboarding program. So I've created a 3-module program used to onboard all new clients coming into my practice. So this has been kept really intentionally general and basic for the clients because we want them to be set up for success and have the tools and resources necessary for them, but not to feel overwhelmed when they're very first getting started with us, and we don't want to scare them off, right? We're not really into the thick of it yet as far as diving into their health journey. So keeping it basic, but really informative to set them up for success. So again, I want to just mention that this program has been added to my packages, to my different offerings and bundled with them so that they could be automatically, all new clients can be automatically enrolled in this when they are booking in with me. So let's take a look at the 3 different modules that I have set up here. I'm actually just going to go into edit mode here for module 1. So you'll be able to name this. You can add a description if you need to, and then you can have an unlock date. So I am working off of an evergreen program right now. So in Practice Better, we offer the 2 different styles. For this particular style of program that we're exampling today, I want to use an evergreen because that's going to allow new clients to kind of enroll and sign up and start at any time rather than a fixed date. So you'll have the option with an evergreen of unlocking the content at a certain date or time. I want this to happen pretty immediately, so I actually have it set for 1 minute after the client is automatically enrolled. If I were to not have this, I would not be able to add tasks or forms to the module. So that is kind of something to keep in mind, because as you're setting this up, you will have the option of just kind of having it automatically available. So kind of a funny little quirk, but just something to keep in mind there. Now let's go into the content. So if you are familiar with programs, you know that we have a lot of different capabilities as far as the text content of formatting and adding different visuals into your program to make it nice and visually appealing and engaging for the client. Because we're very intentionally being basic with this onboarding program, all that I have included for this particular module to welcome clients into my practice is a welcome video. So, you know, if this is something that I'm, again, very similar to the client portal welcome video where I'm recording it, uploading it to YouTube, marking it as unlisted, and then I'm capturing that link that's generated. And all I have to do is just paste this in, and it's naturally kind of embedded into the module here. And clients can actually watch this directly from Practice Better, whether they're on their computer or their phone app. So they don't have to navigate out of the platform over to YouTube or Vimeo. So nice and simple. And again, I've chosen to do this as a video because it's really going to elevate and kind of give it that personal touch. It's always nice to really be able to convey your message over video where you can articulate and smile and all those different things there. Further down, I've added another text box. So, you can use your red fast action button and just add additional text box if you want to kind of keep them organized and in different sections for you as you're creating this. And I've added just a bit of basic text here that I've included more for the sake of a header. And you'll see how that looks when we preview the example. And then I've added a couple PDFs. So again, I've used my red fast action button to just attach some PDFs directly from my computer. And you have the option of including a preview if you wanted to, or you can choose to disable the download. So a few options there. You can reorder these if you want them kind of in a sequential order. So for this particular module, I've included a health transformation package detail. So the intention with this is that whatever kind of they've booked with me, they're getting a little bit more further detail on if they need to go back and reference that after they've booked. For this particular example, I have a number of different follow-up sessions and different appointment styles. So this will give them kind of the details and overview of that if they need to come back to that. And then secondly, what I've included here as an example is a recommended appointment timeline PDF. So again, because I'm working with the example of a package where they have multiple appointments, I'm going to recommend, how far out their appointments should be booked and how spaced they should be. So that's just a reference guide for the client so that as they're booking in their sessions with their own personal availability, they have an idea about how to kind of space them out to be most effective when working together. All right, so let's save changes, and I'll just quickly show you guys a preview of how that comes together for the client, what they're going to see. So you can see that it's nice and concise. It's quite short and sweet to the point, where they've got that video they can watch, again, directly from the client portal, whether that's on the computer or in their phone. And then they've got my header here, so they know kind of what they're looking at below, and the different PDFs that they can either choose to view or download. Okay, so that's a really basic example of that first welcome module.
And Britt, I'm just going to jump in with one question here just before we move on. So someone had asked if it's better to add PDFs directly to the module or to add them as forms and worksheets. So that's a really great question. So when you're adding it as a form or worksheet, that's actually something that you've built in Practice Better. So it's not a PDF. It's actually something that the client can complete right inside the platform. Whereas an attachment to PDF, of course, is just a document that they would then download. So, if you have something that you need to collect information from the client, then a form and worksheet would be a great option. But if it's maybe just, a reference document, an educational handout, or, whatever it might be, then attaching it as a PDF is a great option.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll show you an example of what it looks like when a form is attached as well. So you get an idea of kind of how both work and appear in this example here. But let's go into the second module here. So again, if we go into the edit build mode, we've got that same option of naming and the description. For this particular one, because I'm not including any tasks or forms, I'm actually just going to allow registered clients to access the content at any time. Now, bear in mind, my others were set for 1 minute after the client is enrolled, so they'll likely not experience a lag in any of the resources being shared with them. But I just wanted to highlight kind of the different options that you'll have when you're setting up an evergreen program for this particular example. But let's navigate over to the content tab. And so what I've shared with this particular one is different resources for the client to be able to navigate the Practice Better client portal. So, as a practitioner, likely you had to go through a little bit of a learning curve to familiarize yourself with how to navigate through, and likely the client will as well. So this is different resources that Practice Better has on their YouTube channel that I have included. So these are available for you guys to view and share with your clients as needed. And I actually want to mention that this first video that I've included is the video that the clients would see by default as the client portal welcome video. So this is what Jen also shared in the chat, but if a client wants to go back and reference it, to go back now that they have poked around a little bit more and they want to remember something that was shared in the video, this is a really nice way of sharing that so they can go back very easily to access that information. All right, let's just start at the top here. Again, I've included a little header, a title of the section here, a little description, and I've actually included the links for them to download the phone app and made them familiar of that. So not every client is going to know that that's available to them unless, of course, we share that with them. So whether they're on Android or an iPhone, they've got the link now where they can go and download that onto their phone. I have uploaded and embedded a video. Again, this is on our own YouTube page, so this is available for you guys. Another section here, so kind of repeating that format with the different videos. So here's another one on the journals. So if you're using the lifestyle and diet food journals with your clients, maybe you're going to want to kind of show them how to use that. And I also want to say that, again, this is another opportunity for you guys to record your own video. So if you want your clients to be using the journals in your own way, then, record your video, upload it to YouTube or Vimeo and embed it in just the same, but really nice and easy to be able to make use of those resources that Practice Better has shared on our YouTube channel specific for the client. And then again, repeating that with the title and little blurb here, I've included one on how to view shared protocols. So, right when we were starting this webinar, I saw somebody comment in the chat box that they needed to get their clients to actually use Practice Better and view the resources there. So this is a really great way of promoting that. So if they know how to actually navigate and view their protocols of where you're sharing the recommendations and resources, they'll be better able to do that. And then I've added an additional text box using, again, that red fast action button here. and added a dividing line to kind of break up a different section, added a different header, and I've shared our customer success information. So we are available to help clients troubleshoot and navigate the platform if need be. So if they're experiencing any kind of technical difficulties, and as a practitioner, you're not able to guide them, we do have a team that helps out with that. So I've included that information for them, and a little bit of information, screenshots and details are always really beneficial. So I've let them know that that's what they should include. And let's take a look at how this appears for the client again. So, when you're working with the different text boxes, it will kind of all come up as one kind of long page. So even though this was built out as a separate text box, it will show as one. And that's why I've kind of added that dividing line there. So that's the second protocol that we've built out for the onboarding program, just different resources and tools to help the client be successful in the Practice Better client portal. Any questions about that, Jen?
Yeah, so there's a couple questions asking for those links to the different, client guidance videos that you had there, and I just put them into the chat. So I'm just putting them together in one thing here, so I can actually share them just again here. But I'll put that into the chat for anyone who missed it. And there was another question. There's lots of questions coming in here. And I know there was one that I thought was a good question, which was, is it possible to actually have different client portal welcome videos for different types of clients? So I think maybe that question was referring to the default client portal welcome video. And there's only one video that you can put for that default one that pops up first. But if you did want to create, your own custom client portal welcome videos, then you could even create maybe 2 different versions of your onboarding program that have slightly different guidance videos. So that would be a nice way to, be able to sort of customize that. And you can easily duplicate your program. So you wouldn't need to start from scratch. You could just duplicate it and then, shift whichever resources or videos you needed to serve a different type of client. So that would be one option to help with that piece.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing that I wanted to highlight is that because I'm having every single new client into my practice filter through this onboarding program, I've specifically kept this very general. So, as we're looking at the PDFs and the different tasks and the information that I've chosen to share as an example with you guys, there's nothing client specific in here. If I had a resource that was more geared towards a specific client, what you could do is share this same type of information as a package in their documents folder, or even you could get really creative and use the client protocol to deliver this type of information. So there's a few different ways that you can play around with creating an onboarding program, even if it's not within the direct programs feature. So just wanted to kind of mention that as well. But let's take a look at the third and final module that I have created for you guys. So going into edit here, same kind of idea where we have the module name. Again, I've unlocked this one after 1 minute. Again, I want it pretty immediate, but you can make that however you'd like. Because with this particular one, I'm including tasks and forms and worksheets. So you'll see now that I have those tabs at the top here. This one is a little bit different than the last two in that I don't have any content in the text content section. So maybe that's a little bit new. If you've been working with programs, it's pretty typical that you would add information in here, but you don't necessarily need to. So what I've done here is over in tasks, I've created a couple basic tasks that I'd like my client to complete. So first being say hello in the chat. So the chat feature being the primary way of communicating in between sessions and check-ins. So we want to start the conversation. So I've included that there. And all that it looks like as you're editing a task is you'll name it, you'll include any additional notes or description that you want your client to know. So it's always nice for a client to know why they're doing something. You also have the option of setting a priority. So whether it's normal or high, you can choose to include a due date for this task, or set a reminder for completing the task. So, if they haven't done it, I want to send a reminder 3 days after the module is unlocked to say like, hey, we need you to complete this particular task. So nice and easy to get those set up. And then the second one that I have included here is that I'd like my client to complete 3 days worth of their food and lifestyle journals. And I want that, again, I've set a due date with this one, 3 days after the module is unlocked. And I'm reminding them 1 day after they've had access to the module. So I've set this as a high priority because this is the type of information that I want to see before I meet with them for the first time at that initial consultation. So by setting up this task, I don't have to manually remember to remind them or send the message that this is something that they need to focus on or complete. The program is kind of doing that for me. So again, eliminating that busy work, keeping things streamlined for me as the practitioner, and just making sure that my timelines are kind of held in check before the actual initial consultation. So I'm getting all the information that I need. And then I'm going to actually go over to forms and worksheets here. So, the whole kind of point of this onboarding program is to set our clients up for success and to make things as smooth and, elevate that experience as much as possible. So what we have here is a form, a check-in form of their onboarding. I want to be able as a practitioner to know that my efforts are translating well, that I'm actually setting my clients up for success. So, I'm actually going to just go to my forms and waivers to show you guys the basic questions that I've included here. So this is the onboarding check-in. It's just 5 questions. So it's a quick survey to understand my client's onboarding experience. So I have included their personal information fields, a few yes or no questions. So do they feel clear on what to expect when working together? Were the action steps provided clear and concise? So those action steps were, say hello in the chat, fill out your food journal. And then I've also asked if they found the resources I shared for them on how to navigate the client portal in module 2 helpful. So they can say yes or no to that. They can rate their experience. So I've chosen a scale question here, 1 being bad, 10 being great, where they can say how well they were introduced into my practice and how successful they felt as far as going forward to work together. And then any other feedback they want to share with me, I've included a text field here. So nice and simple, but it will allow me as the practitioner to just gauge whether my onboarding program is having the effect that I'm hoping it does. And I've included that in the client onboarding program for that last module. So when they get to that, they get to fill that out. And again, if you remember, I didn't have any content in that text box. So they have their 2 tasks and then that 1 form, and that's as simple as I need it. So, again, really short and sweet, concise, because I just want clients to focus on the, necessary things and not get bogged down by any extras. I don't want it to feel too arduous to the client. So it kind of appears as a nice list. And then as they work through to complete the different tasks and the forms or worksheets that you're including, they get to just kind of click the complete button and mark things off as they're done. Okay, so that is it for the program. Just nice and simple, the 3 different modules, just to make sure that clients are being introduced into my practice in a really kind of efficient, organized, and helpful way for them.
Yeah, and Britt, just to highlight that onboarding check-in form that you just shared, that's actually the one that we would love to give all of you access to. So like we mentioned at the beginning, if you do complete our deep dive feedback survey, which I'll put the link in the chat again, we'll send you the access code for that form. And so basically what that means is you'll be able to input that into your own Practice Better platform, and you'll be able to use that onboarding check-in form with your own clients. So I just put the link into the chat again. And if you do complete that feedback survey for us, we would love to provide you that bonus form access code so you can use that yourself.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple questions. So Laura's asking if we would first need to create that form. Yes, you would create that form and then you'd be able to add that right into the program that you're creating. And I saw another question that was actually quite a good question about transferring clients into your practice and whether you'd recommend onboarding those with a program like this. I think that's still a really great idea, especially if you're giving a tour of the client portal and you want to kind of relay important information, maybe about communication expectations and how they can go about that in practice better, where they can find their resources. All that information can be really helpful for someone who's using the platform for the first time. So even if they're not a brand new client, but they're brand new to your practice within Practice Better, that could be really beneficial for them.
Yeah, awesome. And I see another question, Britt, about how can you actually add people to your onboarding program?
Yeah, so when you are in your overview here, you'll have a button to register your clients. So if you're manually looking to do that, you can select somebody here. So I have my client list there. However, what I've done here is I have come up with a package. So what I've done is with my packages here, I have actually added the program to the different offerings. So I've bundled a different collection of my services and offerings to do either 6 months or 12 months with my clients. And then you can actually add a program. So again, now anytime that somebody is purchasing that package, they're automatically going to have access to this program as well. And you can do this for one-off sessions as well. So if you're creating a package, you could literally just have your initial consultation, if that's all that your client is signing up for, and that's how you're marketing your services, and then create a package so that you can add that program right there. And then it's just a matter of how you're sharing your services. So something like that custom booking page, creating a page for like that. All right.
Yeah. So as Britt had shared there, you can, do a couple of options in terms of how you'd actually get your client enrolled in the onboarding program. You could include it in the package, as we've shown here. They would then purchase that package and they're automatically then enrolled in the program. As long as that program is included in the package, you could, like Britt had showed, just manually add a client if they're already in the system, or you could actually send them the booking link for that specific program if you wanted to do that. So that's another option too. So Britt will just show that here.
Yeah, so you could either create for client and they'll be given access to that package, which includes the program. You can share a link directly for that. So, if you're talking to somebody from a discovery call and they know specifically that they want the 6-month package, you probably don't need to filter them through a custom booking page. You likely can either share the link with them directly or invite them to book if they're already in the platform. And then with the actual program here, it's very similar. So you can register the clients or just share that registration link if you'd like to enroll somebody and it's not attached to a service or a package.
Yeah, perfect. And as we're just nearing the top of the hour, I did want to share that feedback survey in the chat. Once again, if there is anyone that has to run right away, again, for completing that as a thank you, we'll be sending that form access code for the onboarding check-in form. So definitely fill that out if you have a couple minutes. We'd really appreciate your feedback. All right, awesome. So yeah, Britt, was there anything else that you wanted to mention before we kind of start to wrap things up?
No, I think that's kind of the end of our demo today. I want to just kind of remind everybody that the examples that you're seeing today, whether it's the forms or the packages or anything that I have created and shown you today, is just for the sake of example. But we do have different templates for forms and that in the platform that you can kind of customize to your own. All right.
And you can also, because this is being recorded, you will get the replay. You can always go back and, refer back to where we're sharing the examples and sort of build out something similar if you like what you saw. But again, you will have that onboarding check-in form that you can actually just download right into your account as long as you do complete that survey for us. I did see, Britt, one other question that I think is worth just touching on, which is, can you use the fixed date program option to do this onboarding process? And I think, yes, you definitely could. So the difference between the fixed date and evergreen is that the fixed date program is going to run from a calendar start date to a calendar end date. So you could do that. But you'd probably have to create a separate program for each client, because likely each of your clients are starting and ending working with you at different times, right? So you could just duplicate those and change the dates. And in that case, you could use the fixed date program option and it would look the same, like in terms of the ability to build in all of that type of content that we shared. So that's definitely, an option that you could do. One other thing I did want to mention too is that, let's say you are doing like a fixed date program with a group of clients, you could even build some of those like onboarding modules as the first few modules in a fixed date program that just are available to the client right from the get-go. So you could, build the sort of those onboarding resources in as the first few modules, and then just continue on with the rest of your modules that are part of your regular program. So those are just a couple other ways that you could still sort of use these strategies.
Great. Yeah. So I think that, shall we turn our cameras back on?
Yeah, absolutely.
I might have to make me host there.
Oh yeah, let me do that here. All right, there we go. You should be good, Britt. Perfect. Right. Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone so much. We appreciate you being here. We love doing these deep dives every month with you, and we really do hope that was helpful. I recognize, and I really saw that there was lots of questions. We tried to answer as many as we could. Of course, we couldn't get to everything. So we always want to say that our customer success team is there to answer any further questions that you have. I'm just putting their email address in the chat for you again. So definitely feel free to touch base with us if, there was something that you wanted sort of a follow-up on from our time together today. Again, you'll be given the replay for this deep dive, so you can always refer back to it anytime. And just one last reminder that you will see our feedback survey pop up as the webinar ends. So if you haven't copied over that link and haven't completed that yet, we would really appreciate you taking just a moment to do so. Your feedback is so valuable to us, really. It helps inform our deep dives going forward, our other resources that we provide. So it's really, really valuable. And then, as a bonus, we also wanted to provide that form access code for anyone who does complete that survey. I'll just put that link in the chat one more time, but you will see that pop up as soon as the webinar ends as well. Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day and we'll chat with you soon.
Bye guys.
Bye.